Sure. Hello, everyone. I'm Aravind. I'm the co-founder and CEO of River. So we are a AV startup based out of Bangalore. So we are only 2 years old, and what we achieved in the last couple of years is phenomenal progress. So we got a product designed, built, and ready to manufacture from scratch in just 2 years. Number one. Number two, we built a kick-ass R&D team of close to 300 engineers and designers who are very hands-on. We do everything from designing the vehicle, designing the frame, the battery pack, the electronics, everything. And number three is we put up a factory for mass production. We got the factory ready and it is ready to mass produce. So all of this was achieved in 2 years and less than $15 million. And what we have done in the last 2 years is to set up a good base, which is ready to scale. And we are in the process of taking the product to market in August, and then scale to across the country in the next few months to come.
So I am curious to know how. $15 million is fairly small considering what your competitors have raised. I think there's nobody who's raised less than $100 million, right? The people you are competing with.
Also, you need to factor in the period of time they have been in existence, right? So we are only 2 years and we raised $15 million in those 2 years. So one important aspect to this was to get the product to market in the shortest possible time and without compromising on quality or any of the processes. So being a startup, that's an important aspect to the strength of the company, right? So one important thing that we kind of focus on is agility. So we're very agile as a company, and we had very strong focus on what we were going to build. So we want from day one we were sure what is the product that we are going to build, what is the specification, what is the market positioning, etc., etc., and we just executed it with great efficiency. So that is important thing, and based on the stage of the company, we have raised adequate capital. That is an important part. And the stage was so initial seed of $2 million was for product development. We kind of put around 15 prototypes on the road within a year. Then we raised 11 million, which is to take the product into mass production, including investments for tools for mass production, the factory, etc., etc. And then we are the further money that we'll be raising will be used for taking the product to market.
So if I was to kind of just reword it a bit, so one thing you're saying is focus. You did not waste time or money in experiments, which a lot of early players had to waste because there was no ecosystem. Everyone was figuring things out. So you had the benefit of not being the first mover, the late mover advantage, that things to some extent were already figured out. So you were very clear and focused on what it is that you want to build. I'm also guessing that that late mover advantage would have helped in terms of getting access to a lot of talent, a lot of plug and play things which you don't need to build from scratch. For example, there is a whole ecosystem for the various components of building an EV, be it the battery ecosystem or the software, the IoT. All of these things are. It's like setting up e-commerce in 2010 versus setting up e-commerce in 2020. So is that like part of the reason?
Definitely not denying it. So we do have the benefit of what we call hindsight. So we kind of understand what went wrong in certain experiments in other players, etc., with other players. So that's definitely there. Having said that, it's extremely important to know the process of automotive development. So that really comes from experience. So my co-founder Vipin, he's a designer from Honda. He's an industrial designer from Honda who has spent close to 8 years building vehicles for Honda across Japan, Southeast Asia, and India. He has taken around 7 products from concept to commercialization during his time at Honda. So And what the in addition to the benefit of hindsight that we have, we also know what exactly it takes. We understand the processes. We understand where we can optimize in the product development, which many startups in the space did not have before us, or even the peers to us, because most of them surely do not have the kind of experience that we come with.
So tell me the journey of deciding to become an EV entrepreneur. Where were you coming from? What led up to that decision, and how did you execute on the idea?
Okay, so from 2018 to 2020, I was working in another EV startup. I was heading their operations and strategy, and so that was kind of my first introduction to EV. While I was there, we took the product to a commercial launch, did not start selling, and understood the ecosystem, understood the supply chain, etc., etc. Then COVID hit. In March 2020, I quit. And it was a few months of uncertainty. We were not sure about what I wanted to do. A few months after that, my co-founder Vipin also quit his job, and then we started talking. So, a few months after we started talking, we were kind of ideating if we were to create a business in the EV space in India, in the automotive two-wheeler space in India. What is the niche that we will go after? So we strongly believe that every business needs a niche. If you are a young consumer business, there should be a niche in terms of value proposition, in terms of the customer that you talk to, that you really have to go after. So for that, the answer to that after a few months of ideation for us was utility lifestyle. So we wanted to create a niche around utility lifestyle in India. So the thesis there was quite simple. More than 50% of India was self-employed, and so as in we do not go for a blue collar or a white collar job. There are solo entrepreneurs who will be running their own shops, or who are a tradesman, who are a carpenter, who are an electrician, who are a builder, etc., etc. And there is a large part of the day that a two-wheeler is involved in. They carry a lot of things on the vehicle, on a two-wheeler for their work. That's also their primary mode of commute. Now, people do that on the existing two-wheelers. However, the form factor was not really suited for them to kind of do that. So people do that in uncomfortable ways, etc. So we kind of also, that is one trend. The second trend is that the youngster of today, like a 21-year-old who is just out of college, he is driven, he is a solo entrepreneur, but doesn't mean that even though he does utility tasks, doesn't mean that there is a lack of style quotient in his life or personality. And he or she will want to kind of also a vehicle that reflects their personality a lot. So combining these two, we kind of thought that utility lifestyle is a niche that we want to, and the combination of utility and the lifestyle that they stand for is the value prop that we need to bring to market. That is how River was born. And yeah,
This
yeah.
what would be like a close comparison in like ICE engine vehicles to what like is there like a utility lifestyle ICE engine option?
Maybe not in India. I'll give you a loose comparison to this in the US market. Like US trucks are extremely popular in the US, right?
The
So
Ford pickups and all.
yeah, the Ford F-150 and
Uh,
all that, right?
uh,
You're a
uh,
carpenter, you're an electrician, you're a builder. You ride a truck, you carry things for your work on the truck. That's also your primary car.
right.
And we want to create a parallel of that in the Indian two-wheeler space.
Okay. 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 Interesting. So this is not something you're doing for like a gig worker delivery stuff. The logistics. Logistics was not the primary aim here, or was that the
Uh,
main?
I don't think logistics or the gig workers are the primary market because the market is very small. So we are targeting solo entrepreneurs. So it can be a shop owner, it can be a home baker, it can be electrician, it can be a carpenter. See, this category of workers or this category of the population is massive, and they all earn significantly more wealth than significantly more money than the blue collar workers out there, and they have disposable income. They all stand for a particular style statement, and we want to celebrate their livelihood. We want to celebrate what they stand for.
Interesting. How so this fundamental thesis, what kind of design decisions did it lead to, like in terms
Yeah.
of like
So
how did you translate this idea into an actual design?
Absolutely. So now, with this utility lifestyle niche in mind, we started back to the drawing board and thought, if we were to reimagine a scooter out there, how would that look like? So we started off with a few keywords, like we wanted the product to be very capable. We wanted the product to be versatile because the people who use it for utilitarian tasks also use it in the morning to play cricket and also use it in the evening to take their girlfriend out. So it has to be suited for both work and life and fun. So then the eventual evolution of that is what you see in Indy today. So Indy has the largest storage in any scooter out there, not only electric but any scooter out there. So we have 43 liters of storage under the seat and 12 liters of storage in the front box. That puts together 55 liters of lockable storage, which is the top, which is the highest in any scooter out there. We have 14-inch wheels, which is more of a cross between a motorcycle and a scooter, better rideability and maneuverability on all road conditions. So we'll also appeal to the rural and semi-urban audience.
What is
That is
the
also
wheel size of, like, say, an Activa?
10 inches.
Okay, significantly 40% bigger wheel size. Okay. Hmm.
Yeah. So that is second. We created a very large floorboard, and you carry a lot of things on the floorboard. So we created front foot pegs, which are seen for the first time in any scooter out there.
So,
Because once you
as in,
carry
you don't
things on
have
the
to put your feet on the floorboard. You can put your feet on this foot pegs. Is that what it?
on the
Like,
front
what's?
foot pegs, yeah.
Okay, okay, okay. Hmm.
So the rear foot pegs are very common. You can see that in any scooter. You can also see that in most motorcycles. So we have kind of integrated a foot peg into the front design, and that kind of gives you a very comfortable ride and a safe ride, even when your floorboard is very loaded. So loading a floorboard is not really a utility task, right? You go buying grocery, you put things on your floorboard, you put a laptop bag on your floorboard, and that's something that everyone uses. And yeah, the front foot peg is the first time in our vehicle. The next in Indy, yeah. Then the next is a customizable platform where there are a few elements, starting with the lock and load pioneer stay, which is featured on the first time in any scooter in the world in Indy, where you can easily mount several accessories on the Pioneer stay. We are also designing those accessories. So it is kind of creating a safer, much better way of carrying load. And all these accessories that we are designing can be mounted on the vehicle and dismounted on the vehicle in less than 30 seconds.
Give
So
me
the
give
whole
me
concept.
examples of some of these accessories.
So there are side panny boxes. There is a back box that can be mounted in less than 30 seconds. So in case you want to carry, see, you are a home baker, you want to deliver a cake.
Hmm.
Yeah. So it can be done using a back box without the cake getting spoiled. With and you can load up the back box in like 30 seconds, deliver the cake, and remove the back box once you're back, and your pillion seat is free. So
Ah, interesting. So typically, like, most people go to a mechanic or a two-wheeler accessory shop for these add-ons and customizations. You have created a modular approach where they can just buy these add-ons,
absolutely,
which.
and it's not a permanent fixture.
Mm, mm, mm.
That's more important. It's not a permanent fixture, and that doesn't actually restrict your two wheeler to be only used for one particular use case, right? So it is a customizable platform where you can put on these accessories, remove these accessories, and get on with your work and life at the same time. So you buy one product, which is what most consumers do in the market, and you can do a variety of tasks.
Interesting. Okay, okay, okay. Uh, like, your co-founder is obviously from the automotive background, and he would probably be doing the design work. What was your contribution in this?
So I'm the business guy. I'm the commercial guy.
Hmm.
So unlike public perception, a EV startup also needs to make money. So, so I think there were two primary contributions here. One is that there is a large public perception or even perception among investors that a hardware business is capital intensive. So we were kind of our journey so far has been a constant uh, proof that hardware investments need not be capital intensive. So what we've achieved in the last couple of years and $15 million is a right base on which we can build $1 billion business. And yeah,
How did you do that? Like did you work more with third party manufacturing setups, or like did you like split up and separate work among vendors so that you don't have to make the capex, or like I want to understand how you achieved this.
not really. So the capex for any particular part, right? For example, the plastic parts or the headlight, etc. These are headlights that will only be there on Indie, and we'll have to do the capex for it. However, understanding how to do it, understanding what is the process the tier one supply chain industry uses is very very important. So we had a simple product development process, which is a 5-step process. At the end of each step, we had a significant milestone, and also significant risk is addressed. Like for example, the first stage is what we call the design and ideation stage. So we did a clay model of the product, which is a 1:1 clay model, which is not a skill set that most startups out there have. So and you don't actually do quick prototypes before the clay model. So in the clay model itself, you can test a lot of things, including the overall dimension of the product, the riding dimension. How does it suit for a 5'2" person versus a 6'2" person? So a lot of these riding dynamics, etc., can be already fixed on a clay model, which is clay. We are not spending money on prototyping. Now, once that is done, you scan the clay model and create a 3D. This is very old automotive design process. Like you can see that the large automotive OEMs will be doing it. Then you move into digital space with this clay, and you kind of do very fast iterations. So, for example, we would have done at least 4 or 5 iterations on the frame. So, we do an iteration, we do quick prototyping, we put it on the road, we test it, we break it, then we go back to the drawing board, and then we do this 5 fast iterations.
These iterations are done on the clay model, or like you use 3D,
no.
3D
Once
printing?
the clay is done,
Okay.
once the clay is done, we 3D printing is one of the methods. But say for example, the first frame was completely hand welded here. So the second phase was what we call the basic engineering phase, where we did a lot of fast iterations on the product, which is software kind of iterations on hardware, which is possibly done for the first time in the industry. So you build a frame, you put out a vehicle, you build a drivetrain, you put on a vehicle, you test it, then you go back. Then along with this, we also did a lot of benchmarking in terms of what is there in the vehicles out there, in terms of method of manufacturing, weight, cost, etc. So we had a view and sight on the cost and how a particular part is manufactured from day one. So that is second phase. At the end of basic engineering, we had a running prototype which is in the final shape and form. So the clay model gave us the form, and the engineering iterations that went behind us gave us the skeleton.
And your co-founder would have seen these best practices at Honda and would have been able to bring them over here.
I think there are best practices that they followed in a larger company like Honda, and how do you optimize it is pure innovation that has happened with young engineers, right? Yeah. Then you enter a phase called detail engineering, which is a third phase where you do 2 things. One is design for manufacturing, and the second is design for assembly. This is where we took help from a lot of tier 1 partners. Like for example, there is a tier 1 supplier who makes headlights for Bajaj 2-wheelers. There is a tier 1 supplier who makes frames for Honda scooters. So we work with these guys very efficiently, kind of see, this is the design they've made. Can you look at this design and say where we can optimize it from a manufacturing perspective? So we did that 6 months into the inception of the company. It's extremely efficient process. We got the feedback. That is what we call design for assembly and design for manufacturing. So can this be manufactured at mass scale is a question that we asked the tier 1 suppliers at that time. We got the feedback. We optimized it for manufacturability. And how do we assemble all these together from a simple assembly perspective? So that is the third thing. So at the end of, along with this, there are multiple other things that happen in terms of the electronics that we're building. How do we make the vehicle architecture very simple? So I think something, I mean, ideation and subtraction is something that we do really well as a company, because it's easy to make things complex. It's very difficult to make things simple. So how do you subtract subtract various things that you want to do? How do you keep it to the bare minimum? How do you focus on what is the most essential part? Is something that we've done really, really well as a company. So at the end of the detailed engineering process, we had 15 prototypes with parts from supplier lines, with parts with feedback from tier 1 suppliers. We've onboarded all the major tier 1 suppliers that we wanted. And these three phases we ran in 11 months and spending $2 million.
Amazing. How did you raise that $2 million?
$2 million was raised on sitting in our drawing rooms during COVID times, pitching to investors all over. Even, in fact, the first check that we got, the investor did not even see us.
Okay. There's like a friends and family, or you were
No. So
seed
the
funds
first
and
checks,
angel
no,
funds?
it came from Israel-based Menu Mobility, which is a mobility-focused venture capital fund backed by Hyundai, Mercedes, so Renault, Nissan, etc. And another VC called Trucks VC, that is San Francisco-based VC. So these two funds wrote us the first $2 million check, and that is how we started.
Amazing. Okay. How do you convince a supplier to take you seriously? As a young startup with no track record behind you, how do you get a tier 1 supplier to work with you?
So it was possibly more difficult than convincing an investor to give us money.
Yeah, I would have thought as much. Yeah.
Because most of these tier 1 suppliers understand the process really well, right? And you really have to talk their language. So both of us, being by virtue of the fact that we had automotive experience, and that really helped because we talked their language, and we told them, see, this is what we're building. This is the niche that we're going. We are not a Me Too product. We are really going after a different niche. We are a clearly differentiated product. So that is one important thing, product pitch. Number two is to understand how the process works within their ecosystem and work towards that. For example, us taking a frame to them and telling them, see, can you tell us how to improve this, is something that people welcomed. People are like, okay, you guys are doing something really different and we love to be a part of this journey. That is an important part that happened. And at that point of time, when we had the focus on the product, on the process, that kind of helped sell the story also.
Yeah, I think the skill set of working with vendors is highly underrated.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it is.
And third point is also to hire the right people. So we were able to get the right kind of engineers and supply chain people from the industry who have worked with the multiple OEMs, taken multiple products to market. So it's always a teamwork. So
Okay. And these would have been like people from large ICE manufacturing companies who have already worked in the ecosystem, have the relationships. They immediately bring credibility to the team. They understand
absolutely.
how to convey information. I'm sure, like, if you're getting an app build, then you have to give a business requirements document and you have to give a wireframe, etc. So something similar would be the case here also. Like,
Absolutely. So as a young startup, when we got the seed funding in March 2021, it was just two of us. So from that, by the time we were in March 2022, we had a team of 80 people, which was primarily split. We were very sure of the skill set that we wanted to go. So our R&D today has got 5 verticals, which is mechanical, electrical, drivetrain, connectivity, and design. And there are several horizontals, which are like the supply chain, manufacturing, program management, development engineering. So whatever a design vertical does has to be signed off by supply chain for cost, development engineering for manufacturability, manufacturing for how can you assemble it, program for time. So this is the fast iteration that I was talking to you about. So it's a team that, so I see it's an R&D team of 220 people flat, and that's a peak strength. And we took a product from sketch to mass production in flat 2 years.
amazing. You said you had 15 prototypes ready after that process, the design engineering process. So
That's the
what happened next?
after the third step.
Yeah.
After the third step, which was called detail engineering. So it was first is ideation, second is basic engineering, third is detail engineering. At the end of detail engineering, we had all the tier one suppliers onboarded, and we had 15 prototypes. Then we started testing these 15 prototypes, and those are still running on the roads. After that, we had to go into mass production. So then it is about developing mass production tools for these products.
But you wanted to do all 15, or was there a process of elimination?
No, we had to build the 15 because, see, all these 15 were also used for different kinds of testing. So, say around 8 of them were going for on-road testing, 2 went for destructive testing, 2 went for shock absorber.
Okay. So you're saying that there are not 15 different designs, but one design, 15 variants, like 15 copies of it.
One design, 15 copies of it.
Got it. Okay. Yeah.
And then we went into pre-production batch where we have 50 vehicles. We built 50 vehicles. So the first step was to build one prototype, then 15 vehicles, then 50. So today we have 50 vehicles which are from the pre-production batch, which is with all the parts from the supplier ends. And we've been testing them on the road for the last several months. Across, we've already cumulatively covered 100,000 kilometers on these vehicles. We have done durability testing to the equivalent tunes of 150,000 kilometers, etc. In parallel, we went ahead and blocked factory land. We ordered the line. We designed how the vehicle will be assembled. In parallel, the R&D setup also grew from a 6,000 square feet space. We grew to a 70,000 square feet space with a fully fledged design studio, mechanical workshops, mechanical labs, electrical workshop, battery lab, etc. So today, the R&D facility that we have in Whitefield, Bangalore, is a self-contained unit where we can design a product, build up to 50 prototypes, test them extensively, and transfer it to the manufacturing facility.
Amazing. How do you... is there an agency to whom you can outsource the testing? Like 150,000 kilometers if you have to run. Is it like your employees who are actually doing so much, like going out and riding?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we have contract riders who kind of their job is to only ride the vehicles.
Okay.
So it is a 24-hour operation, and they take the product out, they ride it. In fact, we do this in multiple cities for different temperature conditions, humidity conditions, etc.
Road conditions and all.
Absolutely, yeah. So once they come to below 10%, they bring it back to the facility, charge it, and then again go back. So there are also testing agencies that we work with for durability testing, destructive testing, etc., because we haven't done all this capex investment for these testing facilities in-house. So it's always a balance that we strike as to what is the most essential that needs to be done in-house. Rest, we have partners with whom we kind of see. There are multiple testing agencies like ARI, ICAT, etc., who we work for, say, multiple other tests like two-post, torture track, etc. These are things that you don't really have to invest in-house.
Got it. Okay. Your team of 80 people you built in a year with just that $2 million, was that enough?
That was enough.
Well,
it was always. See, 2 million was there in the bank, and we never compromised on speed. So we knew that the 2 million will get us 15 vehicles, and we never stopped fundraising.
Okay. How much runway did you have left when you raised the next round of 11 million?
Always the runway was close to a year.
Oh wow. Okay.
So always it's less than a year.
Really frugal in your hiring, like.
Absolutely. We only hired what is essential, who is essential. So we see River growing in 3 organizations. One is the R&D organization. The peak strength of it is almost 200 to 220. So that is an organization that will conceive products, build the next generation technology, and test the products out for perfection, take it to mass production. Second is the manufacturing organization, which is the factory which will mass produce these vehicles. And third is a commercial organization which will start selling and servicing these vehicles. So today R&D organization is 100%, manufacturing organization is close to 30%, the commercial organization is again another 30%, and we will be scaling on these two as we move on.
As your go-to-market progresses.
Yeah, we have already hired manpower to start selling in one city in the month of August. And once you prove a distribution model in one city, then it's a copy paste mechanism that will happen.
What's your median salary in the R&D function?
Median salary. See, we don't pay lower than market. Every employee also gets ESOP. Our median salary in the R&D function will be, uh, for someone with around 3 years experience, will be around 10 lakh rupees.
Okay, okay. So, like a lot of startups, when they get funding, they go all out in terms of hiring the best talent, even if you have to pay 20 lakhs, 30 lakhs, 50 lakhs, 1 CR. I mean, these are not like in software roles, especially, these are
Yeah.
like fairly par for the course. But you consciously chose not to do that. How did you? What was your hiring philosophy? Did you want to say, okay, let me not chase that talent which everyone else is also chasing? Because EV talent, I'm sure, would be like, a lot of takers for EV talent and driving up salaries. How did you avoid that game of competing on salaries?
So one thing, as a company, as a brand, we do not believe in hype. Whether it is in the market, whether it is in price, or whether it is in salary, we do not believe in hype. We are building a company, and we know that to build a brand in the two-wheeler space, it is going to take a long time, and we are in it for the long-term game. So we also attract similar talent. We don't attract people who will want to join for 100 or 200% hike. We believe our hiring philosophy was always very micro entrepreneurial. So for example, we knew that, okay, we want a design head who will need so much of skill set, and we took a design head, and we gave that particular person a freedom to build the entire design team. We similarly took a mechanical head, and we gave that person the entire freedom to build a mechanical team. So that is, and each one of them are micro entrepreneurs within River, and that is a culture that we want to kind of, and that has given us a lot of success in the past, and we kind of specialize on building. We spend time on building that. Everyone feels a sense of belonging. Everyone feels that this is a particular department that I need to run, and this is the amount of resources I need to run this, and we let them run it on a free scale.
Mm. You would have probably also taken some calls that, for example, I don't want to hire people from an existing EV company because they will be costly. Let me instead go to ICE companies because I will get talent which can learn EVs, learn on the job, and maybe they don't hit the ground running, but in a month or two they will be there. Something like maybe you
No,
would have taken that
two,
kind of a call.
true. Two important philosophies there. One philosophy is that we will not hire from. We do not also go out and hire from companies, because thought process and DNA matters. So if a thought process and DNA does not match with the quality constraints, the agility that we stand for, then we do not want that resource. So more than the technical skill set, what really also matters is the soft skills. So that's number one. Number two is to have the right balance between experience and fresh thought process, because someone who is a 3-year-old engineer will bring a completely different perspective to this. As long as that person is given the right hand holding and exposure to how a existing industry works, you can't reinvent how an existing industry works. You can't change the way a tier 1 OEM works. Tier 1 company, the way a frame building works cannot be changed. However, this person can build a new frame. But how do you take it to mass production is how a tier 1 works. You really can't change it there. So it's a right mix between the fresh thought process and the knowledge of how the industry works.
Okay. Interesting. And what are the kind of companies where you think the value systems match? Like, for example, maybe you don't want to hire from existing EV companies, but there would be some companies where you would say, okay, people from this kind of a company have a good fitment with us.
See, every company has a particular value system. So there are there are companies that focus a lot more on marketing than on the product itself. So for the last 2 years, as far as R&D is concerned, our focus was to build a good product. So the entire focus was on the product. So any company where the value systems match, where, see, all the traditional OEMs for that matter, their focus on quality is quite high because they've been around for decades. Customers have, so we are happy with that value system. However, the process followed there may be redundant today to a large extent. or may not be suiting the concept of agility that we have. So we need their understanding of the industry process. We need their focus on quality. We need their value system from a traditional OEM. We need the young manpower who can be a fresh engineer out of college or someone who's worked in another startup where agility is available, where a fresh thought process is available. Now, how do you marry the fresh thought process into the existing process available in the industry is where the trick is. That is what. Yeah.
Okay, interesting. Like you would have wanted to take up like someone from a Maruti or a Bajaj who is young in the system, not yet set in the ways, willing to unlearn some of the things, but at the same time brings with him industry knowledge, focus on quality, attention to detail, all of those things, because you learn those things in these established companies.
Someone who actually thought that I could have done this, but a large OEM will not give him or her the space to try that out. We give them the space to try that out. And our second level of management or leadership is the sweet spot is between 10 to 15 years of experience. Beyond that, you what we call as you get institutionalized.
Yeah. Okay. Interesting. Interesting. Uh, how did you raise that next round of 11 million?
So we had made significant progress by the time. So we had those 15 vehicles running on the road, and there was a large team. See, when we raised the 2 million, it was just a presentation and two of our resumes.
Yeah, that was a
so
napkin pitch, basically.
Yeah, absolutely. So the second time we had significant progress, right? We had a clear product. There were 15 vehicles running on the road. All the tier one suppliers were onboarded. We had basically addressed a lot of risk, including technology risk. We had made our own battery pack, the product risk to a large extent, supply chain risk to a large extent, and then it was slightly easier.
What are these risks which an investor has in mind? So, technology risk means risk that the technology you want to use is not mature or cannot deliver. Like, just help me
You can
understand.
say that my battery pack. There's a pitch that we have a battery pack that works. Now, in the first round, it was like we will make a battery pack that works.
Okay.
And in the second round, it is like, see, there is a battery pack that works.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. And product risk is what, like whether there is a demand for the product. Like, will people want to buy it?
That is an important thing which is getting addressed right now. A product risk is, can a product function in itself? So what you say is a product market fit. Yeah, that is getting addressed right now. So with the launch event, we have a bunch of pre-orders that we want to kind of start servicing now. So now then the next important thing is that we need to start manufacturing. We need to improve our distribution model, and we need to start selling to our customers.
Okay. I believe you used the investment banker for this round of 11 million, and I wanted to ask you, like,
No,
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 okay.
no investment banker was used. All the fundraise was done completely in house. So it was a story that we told about the product that we wanted to build, and a constant thesis that a hardware startup is not capital intensive. Like, people are comfortable giving $15 million to a software company and another $15 million to scale that business. So what we are telling is, with this $15 million, we have invested on a factory and a product, and if you sell 5,000 units of this product, you have built yourself $100 million business. So to build $100 million business, you only have to sell 5,000 units, and all the investments to sell that 5,000 is done.
Right. Okay. Amazing.
It's a very strong pitch. Yeah.
It is absolutely. What is your planned production capacity by, say, January 2024? Like, how many units a month will you be manufacturing?
So the installed capacity of the factory in 3 shifts is 100,000 units a year. That roughly translates to around 9,000 units a month. We are starting off with a single shift operation. Because we also have a city-wide scale-up plan. So we are going to be in one city in August, a few cities down the line. So by January 2024, we target to completely operate one full shift, which will be close to 100 vehicles per day.
Okay.
Around 3,000 vehicles a month.
Got it. What would happen if once you started selling the vehicles, you discovered a flaw? Either in the design or in the battery pack or whatever, like there could be so many things which can get discovered later. Like there is this thing going around in social media about Ola's fork. I believe there is some problem there, and the fork breaks. It's not designed for Indian conditions, and I
Correct.
mean, even with the best of intentions, you might discover a flaw later on. What happens in that case?
So I think it is extremely important to be honest with the consumers because they are the first people who really backed us. So we've been telling a story to everyone, right? Whether it is an investor or a supply chain partner or a potential employee or an employee or even a consumer, we are telling a story of what we want to do as a company. So I think we will be honest with the consumers. We first of all we are very confident that fundamental flaws will not happen in basic functionality. If a part is supposed to do a function, we it is as a responsible OEM, it is our job to make sure that that part is tested to do that particular function, and we have done that. So we do not believe that fundamental flaws are going to happen, but in case of any flaws or niggles that happens, we are offering a 5-year warranty for the consumer, and we will take care of the product. We will replace whatever parts are there and make sure the customer does not have to pay for it.
And you have enough capital cushion to handle such a situation, because you may need to shut
Absolutely,
down
absolutely.
production, like maybe your revenue takes a hit for a few months or stuff like that.
Absolutely. See, the thing is also such a drastic thing means, see, for example, if it's a drastic problem, then we will do the right thing by the customer.
Help me understand your distribution strategy, because you're not just distributing a vehicle, but also the components, the modular components, like the box to like you gave that example of someone delivering a cake can just attach a box. So what's the way in which you'll do this? Is it more online,
So
or is it like traditional
no,
form
we will
of
work.
dealers?
A traditional form of dealers is a beautiful model that works in the industry, has worked in the industry for multiple reasons. Top reason, they fund the working capital because the dealers buy from you in advance, and you pay your suppliers later. So the working capital which is required to scale, if you are funding it 100%, you're talking about a large capital reserve that you'll need, which is not the most efficient use of capital. And if you're scaling through 100 dealers, you are primarily distributing that working capital requirement to 100 dealers. So it is a beautiful, the model that works beautifully in the market today. We do not want to reinvent the wheel there. That is number one. Number two, selling and servicing a two-wheeler is a very localized experience. So the consumer will want to really go talk to someone. At least today, they want to see, have the comfort that, okay, there is a store here which I can take my product to in case there is something wrong. There is a person that, so it's still a very localized experience. Having said that, we do not believe that a city will need 50 dealers. A city will possibly need 5 dealers, but not to the extent. So we believe that there is going to be a hybrid method of selling where there will be a bunch of customers who will come and place their orders online, but will still want to take a product to a dealer for service. So it is going to be a hybrid model, which is a combination of online and offline. We are creating a system that can work seamlessly for the consumer. So even if a consumer places an order online, we'll transfer it to the nearest dealer, and the nearest dealer will be a fulfillment partner who will service the vehicle. So that is also how we believe the dealership model will evolve in the years to come. So we are building a hybrid setup where the entire data will be controlled by the company, and dealer will be more of a fulfillment partner. So an eventual commercial implication to this will be that the revenue that a dealer gets from service for a EV will be far lower than what he is getting today for a IC engine business. So the upfront margins will be higher, and that is possibly how the dealership model will evolve.
Plus, the sale of accessories could add on to his margin. Those would be higher margin products, I'm assuming.
Absolutely, yeah.
Okay, okay, interesting. So, the founding team, the two of you, were able to pull off in terms of manufacturing the product because of your past experience. Uh, what are you doing on the side of distribution? Like, you know, uh, that is something which you may not have already got with you. The founding team would have probably not got that with you. So, what are you doing there to on because you need to onboard maybe 500 dealers across the country or something like that. So how would you, or how are
Onboard
you?
smarter people who have already done it.
Okay.
So we already have a head of marketing. We are onboarding head of dealerships. We are onboarding head of sales. So this skill set is already available in the industry. See,
Because
all
you're
said and
following
done,
the legacy dealer format. So anyone from a legacy company who has already done this would be able to deliver it to you.
deliver it. We are following, I wouldn't say we are following the legacy dealership format primarily because the legacy dealership format has certain restrictions in terms of how the dealer makes money. There is a large chunk of money depending on service, etc., etc. So we are more looking at dealers as fulfillment or sales fulfillment partners and customer experience. We learn to want to work with them in a much more deeper way in terms of how do you sell the product, how the customer experience is going to be, etc. So we handpick our dealers. We spend time training their staff. So it's not like a machinery that will kind of replicate at least for the next year, 2 years, because the first 2 years is where we also kind of define our dealership, our customer experience, etc. Right? So we want to have a slow and steady path to get there. See, for example, the target is to open around 50 dealerships by 2024. So, which is not a very aggressive target.
And what locations? Like you want to go
We have
pan India?
identified this. Yeah, it will be pan India, but with a slightly more focus on tier 2, tier 3 cities.
Okay. Because there is like less competition there. There is a potential to.
Not really. Two wheelers market, primarily lack of public transportation, makes tier 2, tier 3 cities larger two wheeler markets. Number one.
Right.
Number two,
Interesting.
self employed people are more. And our thesis is always going after the solo entrepreneur. So our market is more there.
Interesting. Okay. 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 What are you doing in terms of brand building and marketing activities to attract these solopreneurs?
So we are also we haven't spent much money on marketing so far. So we really do not believe in celebrity marketing or any of that. So we believe really in community building. So we are kind of working with communities of solo entrepreneurs in helping them improve their lives and livelihood. For example, there are community activities that we are planning around campuses. There are community activities that we are planning around groups of solo entrepreneurs. So it's not only about riding, it is about how can we come together and help grow their business.
What
Or
kind
how
of
can
community activities? Give me some examples.
vocational training for that matter is being planned. How can or helping them reach the right audience, getting loans for them to buy a product and maybe augment their business in whatever way we can. So because of the higher exposure and the kind of relationships we have, we will be able to get these kind open up these doors for a bunch of these solo entrepreneurs.
So, this getting loans is an interesting topic you touched upon. You would definitely need to offer financing because I believe that's what will make an EV competitive, because your cost of running is lower, upfront cost is higher. So most people will need financing for it to make sense for them. And a solopreneur may or may not have a good credit history, credit score. They may be new to credit. How will you solve that problem of helping them to finance the vehicle?
See, it's again not reinventing the wheel. It is about working with the existing banks and NBFCs who have already a credit score system. So, solo entrepreneurs, unlike public perception, are not people without money. So,
Yeah, right.
in
Okay.
fact,
Right.
so for example, if you have a fresh engineer startup, as in start a job and maybe get say 30,000 rupees a month, there are solopreneurs who are comfortably making more than that every month.
Right.
so, so
But
credit
as
history is really not a problem.
they may not have uh, the kind of documentation which a traditional bank wants before giving a loan, right? Like a bank.
There are many NBFCs who are willing to work with these people. There are many
Okay.
NBFCs. Like for example, we have tied up with two NBFCs and a bank who have already signed up as partners to offer financing for us.
Okay. Got it. Interesting. Okay. What is the software play? One of the big advantages of an EV is integration with software, and there's a lot of interesting stuff that you can do through software integration, IoT. Tell me about some of the things that you have done. What's on the roadmap there?
So we already have developed. I mean, the vehicle is connected, the battery pack is connected, and the customer can access all the information about the ride, etc., from an app. So these are all things that is already built out. But we are also thinking about building business models around the connectivity. For example, leasing of the vehicle, leasing of the battery pack. You buy the vehicle and you lease the battery pack, etc. Are business models that can be enabled because of software and connectivity on the vehicle. Like, for example, we can remotely disable a pack if someone does not pay the lease and the vehicle will not be usable. So things like that are already built out, and these are business models that we will want to explore in years to come. It's more of a customer education problem than anything else today. So we have enabled connectivity and all the IoT features to an extent that this can open up several avenues of new businesses.
Yeah.
In addition to it being novelty features.
Okay. Like leasing a battery pack would be that, let's say the whole vehicle costs. What is the target price of it? Like when you launch?
See, for example, the vehicle is being sold for 1,25,000 rupees ex showroom. If we are leasing a battery pack, we can even sell the vehicle for 80,000 rupees and do 1,500 rupees subscription per month.
For battery
Yeah,
pack.
for the battery pack, and it also gives consumer a lot of advantages in terms of not being dependent on the battery pack. If something goes wrong with the pack, we'll replace the pack, etc., etc. And what happens to my pack after 5 years?
Yeah.
So yeah, but it's also a customer education problem where you really have to educate the consumer about a lease product. So the point being, the software play and the IoT devices or the connectivity modules are designed in such a way that these business models can be enabled at the right time.
Interesting. Okay. And in such a scenario, you would work with a NBFC partner when you're leasing the battery, or this will become like a
Absolutely.
subscription revenue for you.
It will see the thing is, we all always believe in distributed growth. We are not fully vertically integrated that way, right? For example, the way we want to work with the distributors, you invest in a showroom, we'll make sure that you make so much return and you become our partners in growth. Same story with respect to financing also. We are not a financing company, we are a OEM. As long as we make our cut out of selling the product and cut of the subscription revenue, we are not in the business of lending money.
Interesting. Okay. What do you think will be your, let's say, at maturity stage, let's maybe in 2 or 3 years, what will be the revenue breakup in terms of how much would you be earning from just selling the bike, how much from accessories and from subscription revenue cut and other kind of whatever?
So by the time we reach a scale of 5,000 vehicles a month, which will be in a couple of years from now, the revenue will be from sale of vehicle will be around $100 million. We think there can be an additional 15 to 20% from sale of accessories and merchandise, and an additional 10% from service revenue. And subscription is not something that we'll possibly do in the next couple of years.
Okay. Why not? Like, wouldn't that increase affordability, make it more accessible?
I agree with you, but educating a consumer is going to take a lot more time than that.
Okay.
So today, education of the consumer has already happened. As I told you, we believe in agility and we believe in efficiency. So we are not going to spend marketing dollars educating someone about EV.
Right.
And we are only going to spend marketing dollars educating someone about river and what are the different values that we are going to bring. So when the time is right, we can do the subscription business.
Okay. Interesting. And what do you think will be your sales breakup between, let's say, direct to consumer through dealership versus, let's say, corporate deals and stuff like that? Do you see corporate deals as a significant part, or?
I don't believe that there is any corporate deal transaction that is going to happen in the country today, primarily because, see, who can buy vehicles in bulk? Like, none of the organized delivery fleets, as we call it, like food delivery or e-com delivery or couriers, none of them buy their own vehicles. None of them have vehicles on their books, right? So we do not see too much value coming in from corporate sales. However, we see the order book getting more small medium businesses buying vehicles
Okay.
going
Okay.
forward. Like for example, a Domino's franchisee will buy vehicles. A small, I mean, that will be a small percentage of the business, but again, it's not like it's nothing compared to the end consumer buying vehicles.
Mm-hmm. Okay. 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 Interesting. What's the metric that will tell you that you have found product market fit?
Sale numbers. So
What is the benchmark number there? Like, if you achieve this much by this date, then you know that you have got product market fit.
So I think that answer is there in the Indian two-wheeler market. See, for example, the spread in the Indian two-wheeler market is so vast. Right at the we have around 8, 9 players. Right at the top, we have guys like Honda and Hero who sell 5 million units every month. 5 million units a year,
Okay.
and their businesses are north of $4 billion. They have 5,000 dealers around the country. Now, all the way down, you have brands like Vespa and KTM that sell 5,000 units a month, and they are having a 100 million, $150 million business, and they have a niche carved out for themselves. So this is a number that I've been telling you for some time since we started this conversation.
5,000 a month.
5,000 a month is $100 million is that number where you can say that, okay, I have created a market, carved out a market for myself. That is the base on which we will build further business.
How does this compare with, let's say, Ola, Ather, all the other EV players? How much do they do currently?
And Ather, I think, does around anywhere between 8,000 to 12,000 units a month. Ola does, and Ather took around 4 years to get there. Ola sells close to 22,000 units a month. So,
And by when, how much time will you need to hit 5,000? What's your, like,
a year and a half
Okay.
is what we're looking at.
Okay. And would you need more fundraise to hit this 5,000?
Oh, of course.
For what?
So
For
we are
marketing spend, customer
for
acquisition.
marketing spend, customer acquisition, etc., etc.
How much more are you planning to raise?
So we are looking at a Series B of say $30 to $50 million, which is we have been in the market to do that. We are going to be in the market once we start selling the product, and then we want to raise another $30 to $50 million of Series B to scale.
Okay. So what are typically entrepreneurs are like irrationally optimistic, but just to kind of look at what could go wrong, if let's say you don't hit 5,000 units of sale even after 2 years, what would have gone wrong for that to not happen? Would it be factors under your control? Would it be some external factors? What are the things which could have gone wrong in case you did not hit this target? Like, very hypothetical question, but just to
Yeah,
understand the risk factors.
there are multiple things, right? For example, we are not scaling to the extent that we want. For example, it's also a factor of how many cities are we in. So if you're not able to reach those cities, then that is one factor that could possibly delay us reaching 5,000. See, it's not about reaching 5,000. It's about reaching 5,000 in a year or 2 years or 3 years. So yeah, so it's about the pace at which we can scale is one factor. The pace at which market accepts the product is the second, which is very unlikely today given the traction that we already see in the market. We are confident that there is market demand. And supply chain issues, are we able to manufacture fast enough, etc., etc. So this is a business with multiple facets, and we are aware of it. We are not ignoring that. So supply chain, and we are actually thinking through each of this on a daily basis. For example, we have all major tier 1 suppliers onboarded. So this was a pain that we took in the last year, so that when we are ready to scale, they do not have capacity constraints.
Right. I think supply chain is unlikely unless there's like some battery shortage or something, right? Like,
second thing is manufacturing. We had a choice to put up a factory with a capacity of 15,000 vehicles or 100,000 vehicles. We took the pain and put up a factory with 100,000 vehicles per annum capacity, so that when we are able to scale, once we crack it, we can actually replicate it. Same thing. So we have thought through this in the right way, but we have to also execute it right.
Right, right. You said you're very confident that there is demand in the market for the product and there are signs of traction. What are those signs of traction?
The customer service lines, people calling, asking for test rides.
Uh,
Because we have not spent any money on marketing. The only thing that we spent was the launch event. We haven't even opened up test rides for end consumers. We do multiple community activities where we bring in people into the R&D center, talk to them, etc. Everyone loves the product.
so these are like
So
automotive influencers, like someone who's got a YouTube channel or something like that. Like,
not even we kind of we whoever has come to our website and posted their numbers or email ID, we reach out to them and ask them to come to the site, etc. So not
okay,
influencers. It's the end consumer who will potentially buy our product.
okay, interesting, interesting. What was the launch event? You said you spent on a launch event. What did you do in that?
It was in February, where we invited the major auto media, business media, and influencer crowd, and did a launch event where we had a 20-minute video which was curated, and we showed it. It was live streamed also, and that was the only public. It was It was us presenting the brand and the product and the company for the first time to the outer world. So and from that is only marketing spend that we have done so far, and anything that any traction or and our we have been getting continuous emails, we have been getting continuous calls, etc. After that.
How did starting River make you evolve as a person, as a founder, as a leader? I mean, typically when you start a new venture, you feel that yes, I can do it, but then over time you realize you need to learn certain things, and then you learn those. And so, what were some of those things which some skill sets you had to learn, or how did this help you evolve this whole 2 year
So
experience?
it's a very humbling experience to start it, because see, when we started off, right, for someone to actually write a $2 million check without having seen us write, it's extremely important. So we started believing in the power of chance, in the power of taking that one chance. Like for example, all the major investor contacts or the major investments that we have raised has been through cold emails. We have sent cold emails to these people and we got responses, we got
Amazing.
conversations. Yeah, that is an important thing. And of all the investors who have invested in River, River is the first investment of all these companies in India.
Wow. Okay, that's
So
amazing.
we were able to convince a VC sitting in Israel, in San Francisco, a climate fund sitting in San Francisco, the corporate venture arm of largest automotive company in the world,
Which one is that?
to put in Toyota. Toyota
Okay.
Ventures is invested in River.
Amazing.
So, and we are the first investment for all these companies in India, right? That is a very, very humbling experience in itself. We told the story of River to people, to our employees, when we did not even have a website, and they joined. And they worked tirelessly to build River from a story that we said. We told the story of River to Tier 1 suppliers with a promise that, see, we want to build this, can you please help us? And they worked with us. So it's an extremely humbling experience, which kind of taught us that, see, it is about the people that you work with. That is most important, and you really have to create that environment and find the resources for them to execute and build what you envisioned.
It's quite fascinating that you went after not the traditional VCs like a Sequoia and all of these. Why did you take this call to send cold emails to VCs outside India? Like,
It's not that we didn't go to all of them, but most of them said that hardware investment is not going to happen. We do not want to invest in hardware. I think it is fast changing, and we possibly want to be the first example of a company that can prove that a hardware investment is not capital intensive, because we are a very mature software app aggregator investor. Companies that
ecosystem,
raise
yeah.
money ecosystem. We are a very very nascent hardware investment ecosystem, and all the predecessors that we have were not capital intense, capital
Efficient.
efficient to that matter. We want to make that strong statement that we are going to be capital efficient, and hardware investments are not going to be as capital intensive as you think. And third, India is as great a manufacturing economy as any other country out there.
Amazing. What is the eventual exit? Do you see Like, let's say maybe a Toyota coming, taking over, or something like an acquisition, or do you see like a public listing, or like very long horizon, 10 years down the line, what do you see?
10 years down the line, we could be possibly the first hardware company out of India to go and list in a NASDAQ, or we could be acquired. We're not thinking about acquisition at this point. At this point, we are very focused on building River as an individual brand and see how we can build a large consumer focused business with
Amazing.
very strong focus on design.
Amazing.
Design.
Amazing. So, you're operating in a space which has a lot of funded startups that you are competing against. What makes you different? What gives you the right to succeed?
So every company has a particular philosophy and DNA that they stand for. At River, we are a design-centric technology company. So design is extremely important, primarily because we are a consumer-focused brand. We work, we see around the market, we see what the consumers want, and we are creating solutions to better their lives, and design as a skill set is extremely important to do that, and we have proved that from the product that we have created Indie, which is unlike anything out there in the market. So that design philosophy and DNA is what is going to set us apart in the market in the years to come. That is important. So as part of the design, we are also very people centric, people focused company, where technology is one, but how do you kind of make the technology useful for the consumer, and how can you use technology and design to make their day-to-day lives better is the entire focus.